45 Bible. That's 844-45-BIBLE, 844-45.
You can feel it in the air. Longer days, greener lawns, and plenty of projects waiting around the house. Good thing Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland has you covered. Freshen up your home with Benjamin Moore paint, tackle the yard with powerful Ego battery tools, and give your lawn the boost it needs with Stage 1 Ultimate Fertilizer. Thinking about cooking outside? Check out their great selection of grills, griddles, smokers, and outdoor living essentials. And remember, if you need it, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware probably has it. They even have milk. Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby, your place for just about everything.
If you're shopping for a banking institution, visit with Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, and Quinter, Kansas. The Equity Bank is heavily invested in local business and activities contributing in many ways back to their community. Their employees are involved with many organizations and area events. Plus, a lot of experience comes with that staff. You'll find valuable local assistance when you bank at the Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, Quinter, and other locations in Western Kansas. The Equity Bank, member FDIC.
Today, strong northwesterly winds gusting 45 plus miles per hour. Behind a dry cold front, we'll have the entire area in a red flag warning. Thus, comply with area burn bans and avoid driving on dry grass and brush. Highs will be around 60, lows around 30 under partly cloudy skies. It remains windy overnight and tomorrow from the northwest at 15 to 25, gusting to 35 miles per hour. Thus, the fire weather threat will continue. Highs tomorrow will be in the 60 to 65 degree range and lows 30 to 35. Easter Sunday looks nice, warmer with more sunshine, but stays dry with lighter southeasterly winds at 5 to 15 miles per hour. Highs will be around 70, lows in the mid-30s. Then Monday and Tuesday, a dry cold front will drop temperatures into the upper 50s to middle 60s, becomes windy with lows 30 to 35. This meteorologist Chris Schromick in the NWKS Radio Weather Center.
The days are getting longer, the roads are calling, and it's a great time to upgrade your ride at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland. Right now, get 1.9% APR for 36 months on a 2026 GMC Terrain, the perfect SUV for wherever the road takes you. Need a truck? Take advantage of up to $7,000 in rebates on a 26 GMC Sierra 1500 with eligible trade-in. And for serious capability, get $500 bonus cash on a new 2026 GMC 3500. See the full lineup today at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland or online at hurlchev.com.
When fraud strikes, every second counts. At FNB Bank, we take your security seriously. Our local team monitors for suspicious activity and responds fast, so small issues don't turn into bigger problems. I'm Jessica Von Little at FNB Bank. We are your first line of defense, protecting you, your money, and your peace of mind. FNB Bank, local, trusted, here for you. Member FDIC.
Looking for insurance that actually puts you first? At the insurance agency in downtown Goodland, we're independent, which means we work for you. Whether it's auto, home, crop, or business, we shop top carriers to get you the best coverage at the best price. No pushy sales, just honest advice from people who live right here in your community. Give us a call today at 785-899-5011 or stop by 1020 Main in Goodland and let's get you covered. The Insurance Agency. Insurance the way it should be.
At Ray Community District Hospital and Clinic, they believe in promoting healthier living through compassionate quality care. From state-of-the-art maternity care to life-saving emergency services, their dedicated team is there for you and your family. Whether it's managing diabetes, navigating recovery, or receiving specialized treatments, they're committed to your well-being. Discover the difference a community-focused hospital can make. Visit rayhospital.org today to learn more. Ray Community District Hospital and Clinic. Your health, our priority.
The Black and Gold are back, and you can catch the Goodland Cowboys and Cowgirls all season long on Goodland's Rocket 102.5. Join Ross Volkmer for every thrilling play, big moment, and unforgettable highlight.
Open three. Good. Great ball movement from the Cowgirls there.
From the first pitch to the final horn, we've got you covered, no matter where you are. Goodland High School Athletics on Rocket 102.5 are brought to you by our great local sponsors.
The Insurance Agency, Bateman Funeral Home, Edward Jones Financial Advisor Chris Yost, Schepner's Water Conditioning, and McClure's Plumbing and Heating.
When you gotta go, but there's nowhere to go, who you gonna call? Topside Portables and Pumping, that's who. Weddings, job sites, farm parties, they've got clean, reliable porta potties that don't stink, literally. And if your septic tank smells worse than last year's chili cook-off, they'll pump it out fast. No mess, no fuss. Family owned, heartland values, always ready. Call 785-728-8089. That's 728-8089. Topside Portables and Pumping. When duty calls, they answer.
You ready? 1, 2, 3, 4!
It's time for the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
I'm old, I'm white, and I don't understand any of it.
The High Plains only local sports talk show, broadcasting live on Goodland's Rocket 102.5 and video streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Sky is everywhere.
Covering it all from the preps to the pros.
Right side throw, touchdown! Kansas City!
The Blitz is presented by Pearl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and F&B Bank, along with
Pestaway LLC, Topside Portables and Pumping, Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell, and the Insurance Agency.
Let's go to work. That one hit on the screws and down into left field. And the first hit for the freshman, Brody Meyer. 77 off the bat. Very well struck by Brody Meyer. 3-2. That one is hit down the left field line. And there it goes. It'll be an RBI for Joseph Vaughn. Lionel Williams will come in to score. JVL motoring into second. He's going to be out. He tried to stretch it into 2.
The 1-1. Lifted in the air toward right field. Ranging over is Jacobs. He looks up into the night sky. He won't get there. That ball is gone. A rock, chalk, walk, off, and 4 solo homers, 4 blasts in the inning. Fitzmagic alive and well in Lawrence.
And good morning, everybody. Glad that you are with us here on the Morning Blitz on this Friday, April the 3rd. A true Good Friday to you. Hopefully you haven't blown away yet. That's the only sour part about this morning to this point in time is the wind. It is just since I'm guessing I heard it at 3:00 this morning. That was the time where it woke me up from my sleep, where the wind started getting really out of control. And if it's blowing like that in town, I can't imagine what it's like blowing outside of town. But an extremely windy morning here on the high plains. Already seeing winds over 30 miles per hour this morning and gusting over 55 today. It will decrease a little bit over the afternoon hours, but still going to be a very blustery day today and tonight, with temperatures in the lower 60s. So as the great Curtis Duncan would say, it's a 2 to 3 hat kind of day out there. Because you need to have a 1 or 2 more when the first one blows away, because there's a definitely possibility of that happening here on this Friday. But glad you're with us on the Morning Blitz. Today's program, we will be visiting with Sam Hadfield of 801 Bracketology, our good friend. We'll look at the Final Four, Illinois and UConn, and of course Michigan, Arizona. We'll break down the men's Final Four with Sam Hadfield and kind of get his final thoughts on the college basketball season, as it'll be over here coming up on Monday. So Sam Hadfield, our guest, will join us from 801 Bracketology. We have a few picks of the weekend to get to. In segment number 3, we've got some picks to be made from the Final Four, some college baseball picks, some MLB picks to be made in segment number 3. Once again, not a slew of like 13 or 14 picks. I think we've got only 7 or so not a ton of them to get to here. And then we will get to the front page. Lots to recap from yesterday. I said yesterday on the show it was kind of like the spring sports season kicked into overdrive. And so we've got lots to look back and recap on the front page coming up here in just a little bit. F&B Bank text line open at 785-899-2222. If you'd like to be part of the Morning Blitz, would love to hear from you. If you'd like to get your thoughts and comments in on anything throughout the sporting world, would love to hear from you on today's program. 785-899-2222, the number to be a part of the Morning Blitz each and every morning. And of course, you can also hit us up on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream through Facebook or X or YouTube. We can definitely see those as well if you want to get your thoughts or comments in there this morning too. So lots to get to in the front page. Like I said, a very busy day yesterday. Let's get to it with our front page here on this Good Friday.
Read all about it. Read all about it.
The top stories of today.
I got the early edition, hot off the press.
It's the front page on the Morning Blitz.
Front page, really? We will start in baseball, we'll just start with yesterday. Yours truly down in Garden City, the Goodland Cowboy baseball team dropping both of their contests at Garden City. They lose 8-2 in game number 1 and then fall 11-1 in 5 innings in game number 2. Here's the thing. Cowboys are 1-5 on the season. It's not the start. If you're just an outsider looking in, you're like, well, that's a bad start, not knowing anything about the team or the teams that they've played this point. But I'm going to say this. I think yesterday, from what we saw in the very first series of the season against Colby, where the Cowboys were beaten, I think like 25-1 and another lopsided score, what they did against Garden City was much more it just looked more like baseball. It was a better looking product on the field. Defensively, the Cowboys looked pretty solid. Offensively, they were able to barrel up a few more pitches from Garden City pitchers. It didn't always result in hits or even runs, but they just seemed to have a little bit more aggressiveness and maybe a little bit more emphasis at the plate, which was great to see. And pitching, struggled a little bit with command. Did young Reed cure? That's okay. He'll get that figured out. Caleb Williams kind of did a little bit at times, but ended the game strong in game number 1, retiring the last 10 batters in a row as he pitched very, very well at the end of that game. But, they had some nice big hits there at beautiful Clint Leitner Field. So, I'd say overall it was a good game, a good series for the Cowboys. I know they ended up losing both. In both games, were by 6 or more innings. Or 6 or more runs, but I thought overall it was a good showing from Cowboy baseball. This is going to be a year of growing with a very young team that does not have a single senior on it. They've got a lot of growing and a lot of things they got to figure out, and there's going to be a lot of guys pitching that didn't even want to pitch when the season began. That's all right. It's going to be a year of growing, and I just think from game 1 and 2 to games 5 and 6 saw quite a bit of improvement and a chance to build upon that on Tuesday down at Hugoton in their next game, which I think is going to be a very evenly matched series. And I think the Cowboys have a good chance of improving even more there. So Goodland baseball, once again, losing yesterday in Garden City in both of their games to the Buffs. But I thought it overall looked okay. It looked like baseball. And that's you just kind of know when you watch, like, this looks like baseball. Sometimes you watch and it's not. Too many hit batters, too many walks, free passes, wild pitches, all that kind of stuff. It just looked like baseball yesterday for the Goodland Cowboys. Sticking in baseball, Colby High School baseball suffered their first losses of the season yesterday. They were swept by Russell Victoria at Young Memorial Field. Colby lost game 1 in 9 innings, 3-1. And game number 2, they fell 10-6. First losses of the season for the Eagles, now 2-2 overall. Russell Victoria's got a great program. They have for a really long time. I was actually having this conversation with assistant coach for the Goodland Cowboy baseball team, David Avila. We were talking about, Victoria and not, going and combining and going to Hayes High. And he goes, why does Victoria not do it? It's closer there than to go to Russell. And I said, because if you look at it this way, Hayes has got such a bigger population to draw from. They've got way more kids to go to, whether they play at TMP or they play at Hayes High. There's got plenty of numbers of kids. If you're a kid at Victoria at a small school, you're probably going to get overlooked. But if you go to Russell, a little bit bigger school, not a jump from 1A to, instead of going 1A to 5A, you can go 1A to 3A, and you get a chance to play. And they've got a really good baseball program there at Russell Victoria. So that's a good measuring stick game for Colby without knowing what happened in the games, because there's no stats out on that yet. But without knowing what's in the games, happened in the games, losing 3-1 in 9 innings, great pitching performance from Braxton Withington there. Just didn't get the offense going. And then game 2, not as good defensively against a good program from Russell Victoria, who is very successful many, many years. So it's a good game to have early on. If you're Colby, you got a game in against Goodland where you got some confidence, and then you're going up against Russell Victoria, a team that's really good, and you kind of see where you are in the measuring stick game. Now you make some adjustments and you push forward if you're Colby baseball, who once again falls to Russell Victoria. They were swept. They're now 2-2 on the season. Colby Lady Eagles softball continues to roll. The Lady Eagles with a pair of wins yesterday over Russell Victoria. There was also in Colby, as Russell Victoria brought the bus and brought everybody there. The Lady Eagles winning game 1 8-2, and then following that up in game number 2 14-5. Game number 1, solid performance from Kinley Moss, who had a pair of hits, an RBI and a run, scored RBIs from freshman Landry McKee and Ellie McCarty and Madison Hull, also Ellie Flanagan. Good to see a lot of the younger players in the lineup for Colby go out there and have some success, particularly, like I said, Moss, McCarty, McKee. Those girls have really looked pretty darn good thus far. Ryler Carter went out there through 5 2/3, gave up 4 hits, only 1 walk, but no runs and 6 strikeouts. She is just pitching fantastically here this season thus far. And then in game number 2, huge game for Sadie Cheney. Gets 3 hits and 4 runs driven in for the senior. A big performance from her. 2 RBIs from Fia Tubbs, who went 4 for 4 with the bat in her hands. That was impressive. She didn't play in the Goodland series, did Fia Tubbs. And then Ryler Carter goes out, gets 2 for 4 with a couple of RBIs as well. And then Carter goes the complete 7 innings, allowing 5 earned runs on 11 hits with just 2 strikeouts in game 2. Russell Victoria figured her out a little bit more in the second game, but Colby still prevails easily, 14-5, and they are off to a 6-6 start, heading into a game coming up on Tuesday at home against Hayes TMP, and that'll be a very good series and a good test for the Colby Lady Eagles TMP, usually a very good softball program. Transitioning into another sport, track and field yesterday. And, there's one track meet that I saw the results from, the Ulysses Invitational track meet. And there was something that just stood out to me as I was going through the results and just kind of scanning through this. Goodland had a great day, especially Goodland girls had a really, really good showing at the Ulysses track meet. They finished in second place, and the team scores just 19 points behind Liberal, who ended up winning it. But there were some really good performances. None bigger than the freshman Malia Chenette, who went out and set the school record. That's right, a freshman set the Goodland High school record in the long jump with a jump of 17 feet 6 inches. I think she also won the 100 meters with the fastest time there. So a great start for the freshman in her career. Also saw some really good performances from Jacelyn Gable, who ran really good in the 800. Emily Gray Stargell was great in the 800 as well as in the mile. Some real Libby Cure just routed everybody, or almost lapped the field. It felt like in the javelin throw. There's a shocker. Cure throwing the javelin well. But it just overall just kind of skimming up and down without diving too deep into numbers and things like that. It was a really good showing from the Goodland Cowgirls. They looked really, really good. Cowboys had some solid performances. Trying to think of who I saw in the 800 or the 100-meter dash. Connor Collett did pretty darn good in that. I was trying to see. There was one of the one that stood out to me. Let's see if I can find that. I think it was in the 800. Scrolling through all this stuff but I thought the Cowboys had a really good showing. It was a freshman that did a pretty good job in the 800 for the boys. Of course, none of this is organized. It's just kind of all over the place. I wanted to say it was either Roman Mai or Hudson Short. One of the two ran really, really good in the 800 for the boys and had a pretty good time, I thought, for the most part, for their first time out there. So I overall, the boys didn't have as good a day as the girls for the Goodland Cowgirl for Goodland, but man, overall, I thought it was a great day for Goodland High School track on the girls' side. That was really impressive. And once again, congratulations to freshman Malia Chenette. She sets the school record in the long jump, 17 feet 6 inches. As I joked on the radio broadcast yesterday for baseball, I said that was about a good 5 feet plus further than I could ever jump. So give her her flowers. I think it's going to be an exciting year for Goodland Cowgirl track. Coach Stout has got his team rolling here early on in the season. We'll see if they can continue to improve throughout the course of this year. Speaking of track and field, Colby's track team gets their first action today. They are at the McCook Invitational. Wheatland Grinnell will also be competing today as at the Oberlin track invite. So a couple of invitationals happening at McCook and Oberlin where area teams will be going to. And can't forget, we talked about Colby Lady Eagles softball. There is some JUCO softball today. You've got Colby Community College hosting Garden City for 2 and Fortis Tech Northwest going to Barton for a doubleheader today in collegiate softball. Quickly to the Lynx, first tournament of the season for some area schools. And what happened last year kind of happened again this year. Oakley with a great showing. Easton Fink, probably the best men's golfer in the area. I would say he probably is. He was fantastic right out of the gates. Easton Fink goes out, shoots an even 72 in the first tournament of the year. Oakley took first at the Oberlin Country Club at the Oberlin Invitational. Had a great showing. Did Oakley? They had 4 plainsmen finish in the top 10, led by Fink with the 72. And then you had, I think it's Cowie Bosserman finished in second place. He shot 9 over 81. And then you had Manny Manuel Mancia. There we go, at 5th. And then Carter Selensky finishing in 6th. So you actually had 4 Oakley golfers finish inside the top 6 places, not even just inside the top 10. And then so they finish way out in first at Oakley. Hoxie came in second, led by Gage Epp. He shot 11 over 83 himself. Decatur Committee finished in third in the team standings, followed by Rollins County, St. Francis, and Northern Valley. Some other top individual golfers included Caden Shaw, finishing for Decatur Committee in 4th. Cohen Owen, I think is how you say that name. He finished in 8th. Gage Willoughby finishing 9th. Those guys both from Decatur Community. And then Rollins County's Tavon McLean finishing in 10th. But once again, it was about Oakley at the Oberlin Golf Invite yesterday, as they get 4 guys in the top 6, led by Easton Fink's even par 72. That's the thing. Like, it's the first term of the year, and we go out there and shoot an even par. That guy can really play some golf. So congratulations, Oakley Plainsmen. Season off to a great start after the Oberlin Golf Invite. All right, what's next here on the front page? Transitioning into college basketball. Big news yesterday for KU basketball fans, as it sounds like as if it's going to be another edition of wait and see with center Flory Badunga, as he announced that he is going to test the NBA draft waters, but also keep his college eligibility, and at the same time, enter into the portal. Flory Badunga is going to test the waters and see what he can get in the NBA. If he doesn't like what he sees, he's going to get in the portal and see what he can get money-wise from other schools. And if Kansas is the highest bidder, he'll be back. I cannot. These are the type of things that I just hate about college athletics, this type of deal. You have a guy who's been there now for 2 years. He's done it both years now, where he's got in the portal to see if he can get more money. And I can't blame it. I'm a capitalist. I like money too, but I don't like these deals. Every year we get in the portal to see if we can get more money, either from our school that we're playing for right now, or if it's from another school. There's just no loyalty anymore, and it really angers me. I just do not like it. I do not like it at all. So, yeah, the Flory Badunga deal is tough. He's coming off a fantastic, much improved season. I mean, he was up to 13 points per game, 9 rebounds per game. He had a Big 12 best 2.6 blocks per game, and he earned the Defensive Player of the Year honors in the Big 12, and deservedly so. But this is just so similar to last year, minus, I think, the NBA part. He did not test the NBA draft waters, but he is going to declare for the NBA draft, see if any team wants to draft him in the first 2 rounds, or see if he likes what he hears when it comes to the NBA. And if he doesn't, he's going to be in the portal, where he's going to get tons of offers, and we'll see if Kansas is the one that's the highest bidder when it's all said and done. So, yeah, thank you, Jared. But yeah, it just angers me so much. You know, there's no loyalty anymore in college athletics. And there's people out there be like, well, the coaches don't have any loyalty either. You know, they can go and jump around to schools anywhere. I get it. I know I'm kind of a hypocrite, but I wish I liked the days when a guy was there for 2 to 3 years at minimum, or 3 to 4 years at minimum, and then would go on to the next thing in life, whether it be a career in something non-sports or professional, whatever it was. I miss those days. I hate these days where, you know, we're there for a year or two. Every year we get in the portal to see how much more money we can get. Don't like it. No continuity, no loyalty. It's not cool. But Flory Badunga, declaring for the NBA draft, but going to stay college eligible and is in the portal to explore his options, which means he's looking for the most money he can find. So tough news for Kansas basketball fans there. We'll have to see if he makes it back to Lawrence or not. And a couple more quick stops here on the front page before we get to Sam Hadfield of 801 Bracketology. Yesterday, the Royals could not complete the sweep of the Minnesota Twins. They lose 5-1 to Minnesota. Cole Reagan's really good in a loss. He's now 0-2, but 6 innings, 4 hits, just a single run that wasn't earned with 8 strikeouts and a walk. The Royals go out there, get 7 hits, but leave 8 guys on base. Did not have a single extra base knock. Everything was a single as they were shut down by the Twins pitching staff, which was kind of a Johnny Holstaff thing. A decent start there from Taj Bradley for the Twins. He went 6, gave up 5 hits with 3 strikeouts and a walk. And then the bullpen went out there and gave up just a couple more hits and a run, but that was about it. The lone run scored coming from Vinny Pasquantino, a sacrifice fly driving in Michael Garcia in the bottom of the 8th, which did make it 2-1. I mean, it was close throughout. In the top of the 9th, things got away from relief pitcher Steven Cruz as he gave up 3 solo homers in the top of the 9th. But the Royals lose that one 5-1. They are now 3-3 overall, and they turn the page into a series tonight. Back at home at the K, the Royals will face off against Milwaukee. And you can catch that game on AM 790 KXXX, 6:40 Central Time, first pitch from the K. I also saw it today. It's on Apple TV. So if you're an Apple TV subscriber, you can watch it on there. I've watched a few games on the Apple TV deal. They've got a good quality broadcast. I really like their statistics that they have that they keep in there throughout the course of the game. But that's tonight, Royals and Brewers tonight from the K. And it is opening day at Coors Field for the Rockies as they play their home opener of the season against the Phillies. Tough draw, 2:10 Mountain Time first pitch. Michael Lorenzen on the bump against Aaron Nola in the pitching matchup. We'll see what the Rockies have to offer. Weather-wise, should be okay. I think Officer Jared is going to that this weekend. So I hope you enjoy that and have a good time there, Jared. That's for sure. F&B Bank text line 785-899-2222. Michael says regarding Flory Badunga, Flory didn't want to be there last year. Good riddance. He'll struggle elsewhere. He had it made as a Jayhawk. Understandable quote from an angry Kansas fan. I would be there too. Flory's a freak. I love watching Flory play. Those are the type of guy you need. One of those guys, I think, on every kind of team if you can get them. Guys that are just freaks that can block everything, dunk everything. I think you got to have at least one of those guys on your team. Rebounds, dunks, blocks, does all that stuff. You got to have one of those guys. Flory is that guy. Unfortunately, it's just the era that we live in when it comes to collegiate basketball. So, all right, there you go. That is the front page here on this Friday, April the 3rd. We will take our first break. When we come back, good friend Sam Hadfield, 801 Bracketology, scheduled to join us. We will visit with him about the Final Four and more. This is the Morning Blitz.
Craving something delicious? McDonald's has you covered. From hot, fresh breakfast to juicy burgers and crispy fries, there's something for everyone, any time of day. And don't forget to try our classic McCafe coffee or refreshing McFlurry. Visit us in Colby, Goodland, Burlington, and Lamar for fast, friendly service and the flavors you love. Drive through, dine in, or order ahead on the McDonald's app. We'll have it fresh and ready. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
Attention teachers, you've survived another week. Parent emails, staff meetings, and that one kid who keeps asking if this will be on the test. Good news, Garrett's Liquor in downtown Goodland has your Friday lesson plan covered. Teachers get the employee discount every Friday at Kansas's oldest liquor store. Explore Western Kansas's largest selection of beer, spirits, and high-end wines, plus allocated limited releases you won't find just anywhere. Garrett's Liquor, downtown Goodland, where Friday night is always extra credit. And remember, teachers, hit the bottle, not the kids.
It's time now for news from the world of agriculture on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
For many people, Easter is a time for family gatherings, church services, and celebrating the arrival of spring. But for farmers and ranchers, Easter often marks something else entirely, the true beginning of the growing season. As the calendar turns to spring, fields across the countryside begin to come alive again. Tractors roll out of sheds, planters are prepared, and farmers start watching the weather a little more closely. The days grow longer, the soil begins to warm, and the work of raising a crop officially gets underway. After months of planning, ordering seed, and maintaining equipment throughout the winter, spring is where all the preparation finally turns into action. Easter falls right in the middle of the season of renewal. It's a time when seeds are being placed in the ground with hope for the months ahead. Each pass across the field representing an investment of time, resources, and trust in the growing season to come. Farmers know that once those seeds are planted, much of the outcome depends on factors beyond their control: rainfall, temperature, and the timing of seasons. For many producers, it's also the season of new life on the ranch. Calves, lambs, and other young animals are born, bringing fresh energy to pastures that were quiet during the winter months. Long nights spent checking livestock, and early mornings feeding newborn animals become part of the daily routine. It's busy, sometimes exhausting work, but it's also one of the most rewarding times of the year. There's a natural connection between Easter and agriculture. Both are centered around new beginnings. Farmers understand that every planting season is a chance to start fresh, to learn from the year before, and to trust that the work they do today will lead to harvest tomorrow. So while many families are celebrating Easter around the table, farmers and ranchers are often celebrating in a different way by getting back into the fields, caring for their livestock, and beginning the long journey towards another growing season. Easter isn't just a holiday on the calendar. In agriculture, it's a reminder that spring has arrived, new life is under the way, and the next crop is already taking root in fields across the countryside. For the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network, I'm Addison Stoddard.
Saturday night, June 27th, 2026. An incredible evening at the Colby Event Center. NWKS Radio presents Colin Ray in concert.
And between now and then, until I see you again, I'll be loving you.
Colin Ray's biggest country hits.
Love me. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Tickets available now at nwksradio.net. nwksradio.net. Get them now.
That's when I knew you were my kind of girl.
Country music legend Colin Ray, Saturday night, June 27th, 2026, at the Colby Event Center. Presented by NWKS Radio.
It's game time.
What time is it? Game time!
You're listening to the Morning Blitz.
We will get to some picks of the weekend coming up here. We'll also have another edition of Dear Ross, as we have a couple questions in on that as well. But our second segment today, we're pleased to welcome in our good friend from 801 Bracketology. Sam Hadfield joins us. Good morning. As we say in Nebraska with Sam Hoiberg. Sammy, my boy, how we doing today?
Doing great, Ross. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Doing really well. By the way, I saw your addition to the shirt collection, the Nebraska basketball shirt.
Yes.
That was a great looking addition, in my opinion, my friend.
Yeah, I did a little poll earlier in the season and picked 4 teams that were having great years and ran a poll on which swag I should get next, and Nebraska won overwhelmingly. So
I wonder why that could be. They never challenge Nebraska fans in an online poll. They will win it every time. It's amazing. Like, have you ever seen those things like, let's rank the top 15 college football stadiums, and here's the poll and here's the bracket. Start with
exactly,
this
yes.
Summertime things, and Nebraska fans win all the time. Never challenge them to an online poll. They will. If you keep asking every year, you'll have a new Husker shirt every year for college basketball season. Sam, I got to start with the bracket. You did a great job predicting the bracket. The bracket has been played through. As we sit here on the Final Four, on the eve of the Final Four, I should say, how do you feel like the bracket broke down on how you thought it might happen? I mean, in other words, how did your bracket turn out in comparison to what really happened?
My bracket it did okay this year. Did okay. I would say that most years it's a lot easier to predict what the bracket's going to look like before the tournament than it is to actually pick the games in the tournament, because we get chaos every single year. So I end up not doing well most years. This year I've done okay. I think I'm in about the 88th percentile right now on ESPN, so not too bad. The bracket kind of broke how I was expecting. I was expecting Arizona and Michigan to end up here in the Final Four. I did pick Duke over UConn in the Elite Eight, and that ended up not panning out, obviously, due to one of the best moments that we'll get in recent tournament history. But I did anticipate someone else coming out of the lower left quadrant other than Florida. I just picked Houston rather than Illinois. So I got 2 out of the 4 Final Four teams, and I'm really looking forward to seeing Arizona and Michigan play.
Was the South Florida pick to the Elite Eight the toughest one that didn't go through for you?
That was the toughest one that didn't go through for me. That was unfortunate.
Sam Hadfield is our guest, 801 Bracketology, talking about the tournament as it has played out. Yeah, when you think back at that UConn 3-ball to win it over Duke, I mean, what was your reaction to that? And to see UConn make it back to the Final Four again. Dan Hurley, by the way, I think 17-1 in his last 3 or 4 tournaments. It's ridiculous, the run that UConn's been on. What are your thoughts on all that?
Yeah, it was ridiculous. I was watching the game live, obviously, and Duke was in control of that game from tip until there was about 4 minutes left. Same story as last year, right, when they played Houston in the Final Four. But my jaw was on the floor after that game-winning shot. I could not believe what I was watching. That was, again, one of the best moments in recent tournament history. Can't believe that it came at the expense of Duke again, and some of the best players that we've seen in college basketball this year. But you're 100% right. Dan Hurley, he is the guy, whether you like him or whether you hate him, and most college basketball fans hate him. But he produces great teams that win in the tournament. And I was watching one of his interviews in the Final Four yesterday, and he mentioned something to the effect of, we don't hang banners for Final Fours at UConn. We hang banners for championships. And there's not many other schools that would say that. So it just goes to show where UConn is as a program and where Dan Hurley's taking them. And it's amazing what they're doing.
Yeah, and kind of an era where blue bloods are kind of going away. They still stand there as one of the true blue bloods of college basketball. There, UConn does for sure. We're visiting with Sam Hadfield. 801 Bracketology joins us on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream. As a bracketologist, when the bracket is set, what do you do then? Are you still like tracking numbers and finding things in the tournament, or you just kind of sit back and relax and enjoy what happens over the next handful of weeks?
Yeah, that's a great question. It usually by selection Sunday, I am wiped, just completely exhausted. It's late nights for weeks on end, just staying up looking at numbers, watching games as much as I can. And so after we get through selection Sunday, it's a little bit of a breather. And I usually have some buddies that are messaging me up until Thursday morning, like, hey, join my bracket group, join the bracket group, join the bracket group. And I just take a pause after selection Sunday until like Wednesday night. And then I fill out my bracket and the rest of it and enter all the groups. But I really just enjoy then the next couple weeks, just soaking in the basketball. Obviously, there's not much for me to do other than watch the games, cover the storylines. But that it's one of the most enjoyable parts of the season for me. It's just being able to soak it all in.
I want to go back to that Duke UConn game with one more question. I had an opinion after that game here this on Monday. I said, if you look at Duke basketball and then just the era of college basketball that we're in, Duke has been known for going and getting the most talented freshmen and bringing them in, and they're very talented and they're really good. But then you get in these games where it's late, it's crunch time against teams that have older players, that have the experience, that have been there in these scenarios, and it's the thing that prevails. To me, I think it's kind of a factor, and for Duke, their hands are kind of tied because, they've got the academic requirements and stuff. But when you look at it, their hands are kind of tied because you want to have older teams, because a lot of teams in college basketball are older and staying older. Guys are staying longer because they're getting paid now. I think that's a fascinating thing to keep in mind as we push forward. Teams that have these superstar squads of freshmen aren't always going to be the most successful because there's lots of good teams that have a lot of experience on them.
Yeah, I think you're spot on with that take. And I think it's actually quite comparable to another take that I've had for a few years. I've been talking for a few years about why the Mountain West struggles as soon as they get into the tournament. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that in the power conference teams around the country, you usually get the most athletic players. In the Mountain West, you're getting some of the guys that aren't as athletic but play super physical basketball. And so you get all season long those games in the Mountain West where they're duking it out all night long. and beating up on each other, cannibalizing the conference, and a handful of those teams get into the tournament. And then they really struggle because they have to go play against the most athletic players in the country, the athletic guard play, the experienced teams that have experience in the tournament. So I think you're 100% right about Duke. It absolutely benefits a team to have that experience within their roster of juniors and seniors that have played in the tournament multiple times. And Duke didn't have that this year. They've got a couple guys, obviously, that played in the tournament last year. But for the most part, they are a very young team that does not have that tournament experience. And maybe that's why they crumble down the stretch.
Sam Hanfield, once again, our guest, joining us on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream from 801 Bracketology. The Final Four will be played here on Saturday, and the National Championship coming up on Monday. In your opinion, is the national title game decided Saturday on the right side of the bracket between Arizona and Michigan?
Yeah, I think it is. I don't think UConn or Illinois stands a chance against either one of those teams come Monday, excuse me. I think Arizona and Michigan is just going to be an absolutely fabulous basketball game, one for the ages. And I'm excited to see who ends up on top. They're making it to the national championship because that's who I would pick to win it all.
I mean, those teams from the look, if you're just watching and just from look, they look like the best teams in college basketball and have all year. They've got everything that you could want. Size, shooting. Well, I don't know. Maybe shooting a little bit lackluster for Michigan at times from the outside, but what do you think is the deciding factor in that game?
I actually picked Arizona to win it all, and I'm a little bit nervous for a couple of reasons. The first of all is that I think Michigan's actually a little bit better of an outside shooting team than Arizona is. Arizona doesn't take many threes, doesn't make many threes. And that's kind of been a storyline all season. They've won games where they've made like one or two threes multiple times. So they have ways to win around not making threes. But I'm worried that Michigan's size is going to play a huge factor there because Michigan defends the paint very, very well. They have size that matches Arizona at every position. If Arizona does not shoot the ball well from outside, I don't know that they're going to be able to make up for it on the inside. On the other side of the floor, Arizona plays ridiculously physical defense. But I don't think that it's anything that Michigan hasn't seen in the Big Ten this year, obviously. The Big Ten produces equally as physical basketball, in my opinion, as the Big 12. And so I wouldn't be surprised to come and to see this game kind of unfold and see Michigan dominate on both ends of the floor, personally, regardless of the fact that I picked Arizona. I'll still be pulling for Arizona in this one, but we'll see what happens.
You and me both, buddy. I've got Arizona winning it all too. So I don't know. I've seen Michigan play a couple times where they can't buy a three ball, and we'll see if that happens here in this game. But I'm with you. Arizona has struggled at times too from 3-point range, and that could be the deciding factor in this contest on who can make those outside jumpers for sure. The other semifinal, I know you were not expecting. I was expecting Illinois to be there. I figured they've got everything I think you need: size, shooting. Keaton Wagler, who's been just a revelation for them, and they're going up against, like we mentioned earlier, a coach that knows how to win in the postseason in Dan Hurley. What are the odds? Who do you think comes out on top of this game that, you, for example, didn't predict happening? What do you think is able to prevail and make it to the national title game?
Yeah, I'm going to take Illinois to beat UConn. Maybe that's unwise again, picking against Dan Hurley, but I guess I'll keep doing it until I'm proven wrong and he wins a national championship again. But I think that Illinois is just firing on all cylinders right now. I did not anticipate, and I don't think anyone did, them having this defensive turnaround as soon as the NCAA tournament hit. They have not allowed anything over 70 points in the tournament, and that was in their first game that they won by 35 points. So in their last three, they've allowed 55, 55, 59, and that's just a ridiculous performance for a team that was not elite defensively this year and did not turn over other teams very well. And so I think that they're just firing on all cylinders right now. I love the combo that they have of Keaton Wagler, David Mirkovic, Kyler Boswell, Stojakovic. It's a crew that I trust to win this game.
Yeah, how much, we talked about, defensively they weren't great, but how much of it has it helped that they got Boswell back and Stojakovic is back as well after those guys kind of missed some time with some injury? I think that's a huge reason why they're better defensively.
Yeah, I think you're probably 100% right. That has to be a huge reason why they've just cohesed better on defense.
I don't know. To me, it's a fascinating deal because if Arizona and Illinois face off in the national championship, and once again, that's a big if, but if it does, you know where it's going to be. You know what the talk's going to be about when it comes.
Boswell.
Well, I mean, but I think the biggest thing it's going to be about if those two teams face off, not only is it that, but also the fact of the international flavor on each roster.
Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, it could be like calling the USA versus the Miracle on Ice. You know, all the Mirkoviches and I mean, it's going to be. I mean, all the Eastern European flavor that's going to be in that national championship. Think about the addition of the Eastern Europeans to college basketball, and it could be on full display if Illinois and Arizona meet.
Yeah, that could be a lot of fun. Obviously, I'll be watching Kylan Boswell as well. He transferred from Arizona just a couple of years ago, and it's worked out well for both teams. But you're totally right. The Eastern European flavor of the Illinois team versus some of the homegrown guys on Arizona. It's going to be fun. That would be a fun
matchup.
That's what I'm hoping we see in the national title game.
Sam Hanfield continue to be our guest. 801 Bracketology. A couple more for you, Sam. One about when we first visited after the bracket was released, and the SEC had 10 teams in the tournament, and then you had the Big Ten and the SEC. And the Big Ten, how did they have in the Elite Eight? Was it 5 in the Elite Eight? Was that what it was?
I think it ended up being 4 because Michigan State lost.
Okay, so 4 in the Elite Eight. And what was it? 6 in the Sweet 16? Am I even wrong on that?
That sounds right.
Yeah, I mean, an overwhelming number in the Big Ten. The SEC got the most teams in for a lot of the year out in these parts. A lot of people thought the Big 12 was the best conference. When the dust has settled, I mean, was the SEC deserve? I mean, SEC got their 10 teams in. Does it not really matter when it comes to that? When you're talking best conference this year, how do you see that all panning out?
Yeah, I'll probably reiterate some of the same points that we talked about right after the bracket came out. I don't think that it plays too much of a factor looking back, saying, oh, maybe the SEC didn't deserve that many teams,
right.
Or that's just not something that I tend to do at this point. But just to say 100%, the Big Ten was probably the premier basketball conference this season. We've seen some of the top end Big 12 teams go out early against, again, Houston losing to Illinois early. We got Iowa State losing earlier than they would have liked to Tennessee, and obviously that was a portion due to injuries. But if this isn't the year the Big Ten breaks that curse, I don't know what it's going to be. 100%, I'm not sure. I'm not surprised, I guess I should say, to see that we're at the spot that we're at. I'm not surprised that the SEC got 10 teams in part because they didn't have any of those elite teams. They had Florida as the best team, but all the other teams were kind of beating up on each other in the middle of the conference. And so the middle kind of rose to the cut line of the tournament, and they ended up with more teams in. Whereas in the Big Ten, you've got some of these premier teams at the top who are beating up on the little guys, and that's why the SEC got more teams into the tournament than the Big Ten did.
Sam, when we look at when we go into next season, and it feels like every college basketball season is kind of a rebirth because there's a lot of new faces in a lot of new places. Here locally, Flory Badunga of Kansas has announced he's going to enter into the portal, and he could be somewhere else next year. There's just not a bunch of loyalty when it comes to being at a certain school for an extended period of time. Do you like the way college basketball is with the freedom of movement, or do you miss the days of when guys were at a place for 3 or 4 years and getting a chance to build a program that way?
Yeah, it's so hard to say because it's a whole new world now, right? I enjoy things about both, right? I miss some of the homegrown, able to turn on the TV and see guys that I've watched for the last 3 years still playing in the same school that they're playing at. I love those storylines, and I think we only had 22, I think, of those types of players in all of college basketball this year.
Gosh, 22! Wow.
That spent all 4 years at the same school and were starters. But I do love some of the aspects that we have now of players getting what they deserve in terms of pay, and ending up seeing guys come in to watch the teams that I love to watch, or to play for the teams that I love to watch. I love that aspect as well. So it's kind of hard to say. I'm somewhere in the middle between the two. I know most fans are kind of leaning on the fact like we're ruining the sport, and I don't know that that's necessarily the case. But I do think that this offseason is the most important offseason in the history of the sport, and in part because I think they're going to decide on tournament expansion this offseason. And I'll be interested to watch that conversation unfold. I've actually been, in the last handful of weeks, I've been interviewing. I've interviewed about 200 mid-major coaches or athletic directors or conference commissioners, gathering their opinions on tournament expansion. And it seems to be largely the same voice that they want more mid-majors opportunities in the tournament, but they just don't trust the NCAA to do that in their tournament expansion, right? And so I'll be interested to watch and see how it unfolds. I think they really have the opportunity to ruin the sport if they don't do this right. And so I'm watching heavily this offseason.
I think if they expand the tournament, there will just be more. You'll get Auburn in. Auburn will be in this year, and other teams, and you won't see a whatever it might be, a mid-major squad make it in there. It will just be the same bigger conference teams that'll get in there. It's not going to impact mid-majors whatsoever. So that's my opinion. I think it'll be tough. So he is Sam Hadfield, 801 Bracketology. Sam, my friend, great to visit again. We'll have to do it again soon. All right. Don't try to stay resting. You worked really hard. Keep resting, my friend. All right.
Thank you for having me on. Appreciate it.
Once again, great stuff there from Sam Hadfield of 801 Bracketology. It's great stuff from him talking the Final Four and everything going on with that. Let's get to our final break. We'll come back. We'll get to picks of the weekend to wrap up the week, and also another edition of Dear Ross here on the Blitz.
Are pests making your home or business uncomfortable? Call Pestaway in Goodland, Kansas, serving all of Northwest Kansas. They provide top-notch pest control services to keep your space safe and pest-free. From ants to rodents, termites to spiders, our expert team is here to help with effective, safe, and affordable pest control solutions. Don't wait. Call Pestaway today at 785-728-7166 for fast, reliable service. Your home or business deserves the best protection.
The days are getting longer, the roads are calling, and it's a great time to upgrade your ride at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland. Right now, get 1.9% APR for 36 months on a 2026 GMC Terrain, the perfect SUV for wherever the road takes you. Need a truck? Take advantage of up to $7,000 in rebates on a 26 GMC Sierra 1500 with eligible trade-in. And for serious capability, get $500 bonus cash on a new 2026 GMC 3500. See the full lineup today at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland or online at hurlchev.com.
At F&B Bank, we believe local businesses are the heart of our community. That's why we're more than just your bank. We're your neighbor, your customer, and your biggest supporter. From the corner cafe to the hardware store downtown, we're walking the same streets, shopping the same shops, and investing in the same future, yours. We're here, we're local, and we're always in your corner. F&B Bank, banking built on community, member FDIC.
When you're looking for great food and friendly hometown service, make it Traditions Restaurant in Goodland. Open Wednesday through Sunday, Tradition serves up classic comfort food favorites, daily specials, and hearty meals made with care. From lunch to dinner, you'll enjoy fresh ingredients, generous portions, and a welcoming atmosphere every time you stop in. It's the perfect spot for family meals, lunch breaks, or catching up with friends. Join the tradition at Traditions Restaurant, proudly serving Goodland Wednesday through Sunday, where good food and great traditions come together.
You can feel it in the air. Longer days, greener lawns, and plenty of projects waiting around the house. Good thing Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland has you covered. Freshen up your home with Benjamin Moore paint, tackle the yard with powerful Ego battery tools, and give your lawn the boost it needs with Stage 1 Ultimate Fertilizer. Thinking about cooking outside? Check out their great selection of grills, griddles, smokers, and outdoor living essentials. And remember, if you need it, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware probably has it. They even have milk. Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby, your place for just about everything.
Breaking down the plays, the players, and the passion.
Who's got it better than that? Nobody!
This is the Morning Blitz.
Another reminder, folks, April 17th, the NWBA Chaos Radio auction will be here on all 4 of our stations. Go to NWBAChaosRadio.net, our website, to start seeing items that will be on there, pictures, descriptions. Check those out. more stuff coming in the coming days. Not just more, a ton more stuff coming there as well. And we'll have the sale bill out here in a week or two, so be prepared. April 17th, it is our radio auction. Before we get to the walk-off and make some picks, it's time for the quick edition of Dear Ross. Thanks again to the texters who text in on Dear Ross. One texter says, Luka Doncic got hurt. Dear Ross, Luka Doncic got hurt last night. Does that mean the Lakers' playoff run is on the ropes? Or will LeBron, step up with the rest of the team? I think it definitely hurts them quite a bit. Luka Doncic is a huge piece. I don't know if LeBron can shoulder that load too much. But yes, I would say that definitely hurts their playoff run hopes with him getting hurt, depending on how long that he is out. And I don't know how long he is out, is Luka Doncic. Also, a couple more texts. Another edition of Dear Ross here from the text line says, Dear Ross, have the recent Major League Baseball rule changes actually made baseball more exciting to watch, or do you miss the traditional pace of the game? I love the new baseball rules personally, listener. I love it. It's actually brought the game a lot back. I love the fact that the bases were bigger was a lot bigger thing than I thought it was going to be. We saw teams become more aggressive on the base pass. My beloved Arizona Diamondbacks did that a lot. They went out there and made it all the way to the World Series due to partial those rules. Stealing bases, becoming more aggressive on the base pass. I love the pitch timing thing. I don't have any problem with the ABS, the pitch strike system. I do think it's going to take over and replace umpires sooner rather than later. I think Major League Baseball has done some right moves. The problem is they're not going to do the one that they absolutely need to do because it just isn't really possible. I've said this for a long time. They need to shorten the season. It's too long. 162 games is way too many. They need to shorten it down, cut off about a good 30 or 40 games. Make more games matter. Start the postseason earlier because it gets into football time and it just gets forgotten about. I've always been a big believer that they need to shorten the Major League Baseball season. It's just way too long. But I do like the rules they've made to speed up the pace of the play. It has made baseball more exciting for sure. Thank you. Another edition of Dear Ross here in the Morning Blitz.
High drive, deep left, grand slam! And back lifts his ball. Deep to right. How about a walk-off three? Thomas to the 10. Denver's going on to New England. They win it on the first play of overtime. Mahomes flings it. It's there. Hardman. Jackpot. Kansas City.
All right, quick picks of the weekend. I'm going to take Illinois minus the 1.5 against UConn. I got the Illini rolling on. Brad Underwood's been a great story. Been loved hearing his stories about, coaching at Dodge City Community College, busing to Mesa, Arizona. I love those stories because live them every single day. So it's great to hear those stories from Brad Underwood making his way, and I think he'll make his way to the national championship. Illinois got a little bit more talent, able to get past UConn, and it'll be Illinois against Arizona. I've got, even though Michigan's favored by 1.5, give me the Wildcats to get it done. I still think they've got better three-point shooting than Michigan. They have the size to match with Michigan. I think Arizona-Illinois is your national championship game, as I predicted in my bracket. Some other quick picks of the weekend. K-State baseball, I got them dropping a series to TCU, 2 out of 3. They lose to TCU. I know it's a little bit of a cheating because the series got started last night, but I have KU beating Utah in that series, although that was exciting. That took, extra innings and 4 solo homers to get it done for Kansas. Pretty impressive there against Utah. I've got Pitt, Nebraska taking 2 out of 3 from Penn State this weekend on the Diamond. And then a couple baseball games tonight, over-unders. The Rockies versus Philadelphia. I'm going to take the under 10. I'm going to say under 10. For some reason, my gut tells me it's going to be less than 10 combined runs between the Rocks and the Phillies. That could be a horrible pick, but I'm going under. And Royals, Brewers, I'm going under 9 combined runs in that game as well. So some lower scoring affairs here on this Friday night. That'll do it for our thank you, Jared. I will do it for our show here on this Friday. Thanks again to all the listeners, all the texters. And like Michael says, have yourself a swell Good Friday and Easter to all those out there. And we will see you back here on Monday for another edition of the Morning Blitz. Have a good one.
Straight on target.
Rocket 1025 KL.